too. So we do that.
The chairman can't make it today, so I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
If we can rise for the pledge of allegiance for the moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Constance Villa.
Here. Here.
Glenn Albright.
Yes.
Joe Underwood.
Here.
Aaron Spence. Here. Sarah Bye.
Good.
And Lynn Schmidt.
He's in Italy and had notified us in advance.
Yes.
Oath of office for new board member.
Okay. So Sarah, I will have you raise your right hand and I'll have you repeat after me. I can give you a copy of that. I state your name.
I, Sarah Button,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, truly, and impartially
that I will faithfully, truly, impartially,
and honestly, for the best of my judgment,
and honestly, to the best of my judgment,
skill, and ability,
skill, and ability,
execute and perform the duties
execute and perform the duties
required of me as a member of the Bay Area Transportation Authority Board of Directors.
perform the duties required of me as a member of the Bay Area Transportation Authority Board of Directors.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Sarah, did
So-
you meet everyone before the meeting then?
Well, I've met her before, so yes.
Okay, and
Okay.
Adam Bevere is here also, one of our operations manager that will be presenting later, and you met the rest of the staff.
Okay. Now it's time for public comment, but I don't see any public. So we will move on to approval of minutes, approval of the agenda. Is there any corrections, deletions from the agenda? If not, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now we move on to consent calendar.
Would you like me to-
Yes, please.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such request will be automatically respected. If an item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in the parentheses of the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. Consideration of approving the following minutes. For their board meeting minutes of August 14th, 2025. Consideration of accepting the following reports: August income statement, correspondence staff complement, and latest work tracker.
Does anybody wish to have an item removed from this consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Six, one money, right? All those in favor can say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the executive report. Chris?
Yes, I have a report on page 16. You probably have had a chance to read it, but there's just a few highlights I thought I would highlight real quickly. First one, we just wanted to talk about Eric Lindgar organized. We received a call from Dempsey Bus and right after the Walmart tragedy and asking if we'd like to do a friendly competition and do a blood drive. So we agreed and posted it, advertised, and had a blood drive in this room for which we offered, our passengers and staff came in and collected 22 pints of blood that day. So it was very successful. We won the competition. Not that matters. It does matter. We were like, we cannot lose to. Anyway, it was a very good event that day. Also, later in the agenda, but we did negotiate a successor agreement with the Teamsters Local 214. So the dispatchers and also the drivers and mechanics unit. I can get more into that under that agenda item. Also, just as a very brief update on the reconstruction of this building and remodeling. The most outstanding thing right now is the floors. We still are not at a level of the flooring being satisfied with it. So they're actually coming out again this weekend. We're doing some tests there and maybe looking at other options to redo the floor. So most of the other things are falling in place and Kirk Braun, our facilities manager, and here they are right now checking it. So we've had a few ups and downs with it. It has not gone as well, but
What are the issues?
so the issues right now is really more in the looks of it. When we redid the flooring, it was because there's a real inconsistent pattern throughout the flooring. So they dug down and redid it, but it is producing the same results. And actually, and there's also like about 1 inch to 2 inches variations of white around the outside that just don't look good. So it's more looks now. So we're just working with them to see, one, can they dig deeper and redo it? Or is there a possibility of a different composite, like epoxy or something that can be done? Again, more for the looks, but the looks of it right now is just not to our level of satisfaction. So they've kind of been experimenting with a little bit, but we could lose a little bit the cost, but they're helping us just get it done right. The other thing, if you probably know, but one of the other reasons was that we wanted some reconstruction was we only had one employee bathroom here. It was, the door is from the break room to the bathroom. That was not ideal. And so we actually, they've changed that. We will have 2 employee bathrooms now, and the entrance to it isn't through their break room. They've also expanded the break room a little bit. So it will be nice in the end. Also, the community 2 bathrooms here were significantly improved. So in the end, it will be. And the proceeds that's funded that were as a result of the money that wasn't used for the headquarters. So just wanted to share with you too. We met with Hub International. Justin and I and our HR coordinator met with them about the renewal of our, we're about due for our general liability, workers' comp, cybersecurity, and public entity liability insurance. So I think Hub has been a really good partner with us to really advocate for us and getting some not so high increases with all the natural disasters throughout the United States this past year. A lot of the expenses being pushed on to people who didn't cause those or have it affected by them. So they're really doing some advocating for us to help keep our premiums not increasing as high as they otherwise would. So I think we had a real good meeting there. Also, we met with Priority Health regarding our renewal for this year. Next year, we'll go out for a total rebid on all of the ancillary products as well. We were able to sign last year a 2-year agreement with some of our ancillaries, so we have price fixed for 2-year guarantee on them. So we're working with them to ensure that our premiums don't go up as high as they could for the Priority Health insurance also. Let's see, wanted to share, Eric, Tracy, a number of our employees went out to over a dozen schools before the start of the school year to work through our school transportation, like Woodland, PCAPS, and Glen Lake schools, just to ensure that at the start of the school year for school transportation works well. And they did a great job every night. Every night there was a good meeting to help them.
It was a busy 2 weeks.
It's a busy 2 weeks. Yeah. Also, wanted to share, Eric, I, and Kirk Braun attended MPTA conference that was held out at Crystal Mountain. And there we received our innovative transit project of the year. So of all the, probably 200 different transits and agencies, we got the one for our headquarters and brought it back, shared with our employees at our comms meeting. And I believe I got a memo out to you, but it's pretty exciting. And we just celebrated our 40th year as an authority. We actually have been in business longer than that, but as an authority, a 40-year award. So it was quite a beautiful day for us there.
Was that because of the solar and just how innovative your building is?
Not really because of the solar, but because of the whole project being a PUD. So we have a PUD with housing,
Yeah, that's
the
pretty
cafe.
interesting.
So that is really what they recognized it for.
That's really cool.
And a few of us attended recently. Mary Fern, you were there. And we attended the ribbon cutting for the housing development that's right adjacent to our property. It was
So
very
they
well
started
attended.
it. Good.
Yeah, they've started it and they're living in some of the units, and we got to
good.
tour some of them. Some of us toured the, their workforce ready pricing. Still kind of high though, but they're beautiful and a lot of presses there and things. So, yeah.
Are they all rentals?
Yeah. Oh,
They were all rental.
yeah, they are.
The majority of studios, the guy that I spoke with, I wanted to know what the breakdown was. So a lot of them are studios, because that's where the demand is right now. For
Really?
housing, yeah, for new people that are living in the area. I know, I was kind of surprised too.
I did attend or walk through a couple of the 2-bedroom ones that were beautiful also, but they're actually of a nice quality. And so Beta was recognized there also as being part of the PUD.
Is it the state's first ever transit-oriented development?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so and it might be our first in the region as far as the Midwest goes that has the transit and housing, workforce housing combined together.
Well, I'm glad we should put our stamp that we are the most innovative, obviously, in the award.
yeah.
And we should tell everybody that.
Yeah,
The state's first TRC?
yeah.
That's great. That's incredible. So,
Oh, I had no idea.
Mhm.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So studio, is that single people moving?
Yeah,
Single people just are willing to have a studio, okay?
yeah.
it's affordable, and if you, I mean,
It doesn't have to be a single person, but it just means there's not bedrooms. You know, there's not another bedroom or a second bedroom there, so it's a studio. They're small, but they're quite
Work
nice.
if you don't have kids.
And it's income based.
Okay.
And that's what I was talking to the project manager over there. He was saying one of the hardest things is the income level is actually kind of high. So some people aren't qualifying, but there's a lot of people qualifying. Who think they really need to have something like that. And the idea is then if they don't have a vehicle, then they can take our bus right at the transfer station and come into town. That was the whole point.
Which is great.
Is that
Take care of
Route
it.
2?
Pardon me?
Is that Route 2?
There's a lot of different routes.
Yeah.
It's a transfer station to go many different areas. Yeah, which we'll be changing and we'll be discussing here, but we have.
2, 7, and 13, all we operate there.
Okay.
Yeah.
and you were gonna say something about childcare.
Yeah, there'll be a childcare there and there will also be like a small cafe. That was part of the whole PUD.
Well, Child Free's huge.
Yeah, that's great.
Just a kind of off-topic question, but how do they determine if it's full? Who gets a unit and who doesn't?
If
Say there's 100 units and there's 120 applicants. How does that?
Yeah,
Somebody
he told me it's first come, first served. They go right down the line and they have had a waiting line for quite a while. And actually one of our drivers, applied early on and then anyway, he ended up going across the street to
Okay, so
they
he wasn't early.
applied, like immediately. Yeah,
There's
very convenient. Yeah.
2,200 units is the number in the region that we need by 2027.
Like getting a spot at the state park, Christmas morning, you start calling.
Yeah. That's the end of my report.
Okay. Did the chairman give you anything? No.
He did not.
Okay, so we'll skip that part. Said he didn't give me anything. We'll go into old business, airport shuttle.
Yes. Adam Bevere is one of our operations manager, and just like, as you know, we had the pilot that was agreed to do for 6 months, and I'll give a status report on that.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, and thank you. I want to thank the board for allowing us to test this service. We learned a lot in the pilot. When the board approved, we went out and identified staff, trained staff, built the back end with our service provider with VIA, so users could go on and use the app or call into dispatch to book a ride 2 weeks out to the airport from the Traverse City area. The marketing team went out to all of the hotels, marketed the plan, and we launched it in March. What we learned was the people that used it, you'll see in the board packet, 27 people used it, and we provided 35 trips. The feedback we got is they love the service, right? What we found was, though, it only provided service for those 27 people. So it ended up being a costly service to run when you don't provide the rides and have the staffing involved. And it's a taxing service for staff because of the hours as well. Having staff come in at 4 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning to provide that service is a tough ask. With that, all of the information we learned, we're at this point not recommending moving forward with the airport service. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, what we learned or about the service.
Will that be impacting that route that used to, which route is it that goes to 14?
14 currently goes through there, and our link service also provides, still will continue to provide service from 6:30 in the morning until 6 in the morning until 10:30 at night.
So 14 will still go through there?
It will, yeah.
You don't think, or is it possible that this report suggests that maybe 14 also should not bother going through there? That would be something that I would propose that 14 not to go through there, because I don't think everybody knows, but I used to drive for BATA. So having driven that route for months, I think I almost never picked someone up there.
Yeah.
And when I did, like one time I did a deviation and I got in trouble for doing that, or you're headed the wrong direction and you're picking them up, you're headed out to the resort as opposed to, so. For future study, I don't think the airport actually picks up very many people, and that route could service a different section, could do something a little different with the time it takes to go through there.
So it's something that we could definitely look at. The airport has requested us to have a fixed route go through there. And so as a partner, it's always good to have some sort of fixed route service to connect there. Route 14 did better delivering rides during that same period than this early AM link service did.
Well, that's good. So maybe
So-
just the advertisement or something.
Yeah, maybe just more exposure of using the different routes and stuff like that. The regular link service to the airport it does more rides out of all of our services that go there. But it's definitely something that we can look at about the flow of 14 and where it goes in the system.
I was disappointed to see, but it's clear that it doesn't make sense to do it. Yeah, thanks for trying.
And we always have that platform that we know, we could implement down the road.
And our messaging will be about the 7 to 10 at night, because that, since you've been gone, has increased. And so we are continuing to provide that service. So it's not like we don't go to the airport anymore. We will continue to go to the airport, but
Yeah.
4 in the morning is not working. And I'm very proud of the person that you selected to be our driver for that. He never missed one day, not one ride. And that's why he was selected, to be honest. He was selected because his attendance is so good and he's done a great job. It is not a reflection of him at all. And he will have another route or something, but we still have a great service
We
after.
have great staff there, and like even when we did have a ride scheduled, you still have to have a fallback plan in the event that person calls in. So I would wake up at 3 in the morning just to make sure our staff was ready to go in, but only when we had rides. I only had to do it 30 times, so.
And we shared this feedback with the airport too. The airport has had the same report that you guys had too. And they're definitely open to additional partnerships and things like that in the future as we kind of sort out. We staff up, we look for different ways for improvements and things like that, so.
And no reflection on our link normal service, because that has huge demand and is incredibly popular with our service level.
If anything, we'll be expanding Link more because of the demand, and we'll get messaging out to continue to advertise for our transportation to the airport outside of the 4 to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
How is this budgeted in the next budget? Is this like a line item for the trial?
Yeah,
Was it budgeted for the next budget?
We added it for the trial for the specific period.
Okay.
And just to add to this, but not to belabor the conversation, I had a number of friends who really wanted to use it, but they were hesitant. They were concerned about the driver not showing up. So it'd be nice to capture that data. I know you can't capture everything, but that was out there.
Perfect ridership. I mean,
Perfect, right? No one was missed, no flights were missed.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
But Fern, you can understand that, you know, if your flight is going out, you have to be assured, and you're more assured if your neighbor takes you or you drive there. And even though he never missed a time, I can understand their fear.
Well, on a rideshare app, you can see the car coming to you, right? And you have like an estimated, I am arriving at 7:10, right? So there's a little bit more confidence boosting, I think, in that. So think about that for future pilots, like how can we boost the consumer confidence? I mean, you guys did a phenomenal job doing,
Yes.
you know.
Fiscal decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate it.
And moving on, we're gonna go to right share membership resolution. Eric is kind of like,
Yeah. So at the August board meeting, and Sarah, I'll give you just some background for this. So at the August board meeting, we presented the topic of Neo Ride. Neo Ride is a lot of transit agencies that come together to utilize and pool resources for procurement, for grants, for all types of opportunities where you can take a bunch of transit agencies and use their combined leverage to get lower pricing and things like that. So as one of the things that we talked about when we were looking at our overall fare system replacement, we talked about joining Neo Ride. And this is my request to the board is adding a motion for us to officially join Neo Ride. So one, we can move forward with the fare system procurement, but also it helps with other technologies that we already have. So the VIA system that Adam was talking about, there is a lower rate that we can get when we renew our VIA. Remix, which is the software that we use for our route planning, we can get a lower rate for, and the transit app, which we use as well, is another thing that all can be negotiated through Neo Ride, and we can get a better deal utilizing them versus going out on our own and going directly with those organizations. So
How much does it cost to join Neo
it
Ride?
is $4,000 a year, and it is built into the price of our fare system request, which is the next item on the agenda.
So you save more than 4,000?
We saved almost 100,000 just on
Okay.
the fare system purchase. Yeah.
Identify grant opportunities as is it one of the things that they provide?
Yeah.
Huge.
Mhm. So whenever the FTA or other group grants come out that they can have multiple transit agencies, they just ask, hey, BATA, this is something that you're interested in being part of. We are going to do all the groundwork for you. You can sign up on it and we'll go after this grant together type of thing. So, yeah,
I did homework after the last meeting and looked into the Neo Ride, and so I would recommend it. It's just saving us a tremendous amount of money. And the
I
taxpayers.
have a technical question. You're asking for a motion to join,
correct.
and the next motion is going to be the money, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
It's a different time how we vote.
This is just to join the Neo Ride. Correct.
Motion that the Beta Board of Directors moves to approve joining Neo Ride as presented.
Second.
And moved and seconded that we join Neo Ride. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll go on to the fare system.
Now. Yes. Okay. So last month, we also took kind of a deep dive into Beta's fare system and what that kind of looks like. I've got the clicker, so I can click it. All right. So as a reminder and for education for our new board members, this is the last project as part of our 2020 to 2025 technology plan that the board approved already and that we've been kind of proceeding forward. This is our fare system, so we're just replacing our fare boxes and our single fare system on all of our vehicles and in our infrastructure. Why are we doing this? Okay. Beta's current fare system, which is called Gen Fare, you may have heard us say that one before, is no longer supported by the company. So they have stopped supporting our Odyssey fare boxes and the software that we utilize for our fare system. So our IT team and our mechanics are doing a fantastic job keeping that fare system going with bits and pieces that we've procured from other locations and things like that. But we're just kind of band-aiding it and keeping it kind of limping along and going there. The back end of the reporting is very difficult to navigate. It's basically a glorified Excel spreadsheet or Access database that you have to kind of filter through to get any tangible data out of as far as like what type of passes are being sold and things like that. And so there's a lot of maintenance that goes into keeping this thing going. And so it was identified as a good place to make an investment and update our fare system. This fare system owes us nothing. We've had it for more than 14 years. So we've definitely gotten our money's worth out of it as far as the functionality and keeping it going. So we talked about at last board meeting that BATA has been doing all its homework and exploring the onboarding of a new fare system. Any questions on that project or our existing system?
It looks like you're spending 15 hours a week on this.
About
It's
10
like-
to 15 hours of just maintaining and keeping them going.
Okay, so it's like $30 an hour, 25K.
And that probably doesn't include the amount of time the bus drivers are inconvenienced with the fact. that they're not-
None of that.
Just me.
The bus driver tries to talk, and the whole energy within the bus, where everybody knows the gear box isn't working, and there's like a whole.
So it impacts ridership and even on-time performance then.
It can, and it can, if a fare box is down, it depends on how the severity of it, it could impact a vehicle being down, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Rider and driver confidence as well.
Mhm.
Very much so, very, very much so.
So, as we spoke about last week, we identified Easy Fare, which is also, it's run by a company called Masabi, as the solution that we've identified after coming through all of our homework and talking with other transit agencies and things like that. And Easy Fare is offered by NeoRide, which is what we just approved joining here with this previous motion. There's a lot of benefits with going through NeoRide and Easy Fare, and it has all the functionality that's on our wish list for improving our fare system and having a functional one that will grow and evolve with the organization. We talked about this last month, but the cost for a 3-year agreement would be, so you can see here, year one, which through NeoRide is $400,000, and then there's an annual cost for it of $20,000 every year after that, for a total of $442,654. That's a savings of $100,000 compared to purchasing standard Masabi technology directly through them. And then as far as funding goes for this, we already have over $200,000 in grant funding secured. And then we'd also have some out of our local funds that we need to help cover the cost for onboarding this. So what does it look like as far as the procurement goes? The Easy Fare will be a 3-year agreement, includes all hardware, software. The NeoRide membership is rolled into this cost. It'd be $442,654. We also would like to purchase a couple of ticket vending machines that will help streamline purchasing passes and things like that. So that'd be 3 kiosks for a total of just under $600,000 for onboarding this fare system. So, well, yeah.
Let's go back to the machine. That last slide.
Which one?
This,
With the machine, I want to understand that machine. That's the issue. Kind of walk me through what is it?
I'll let you do that one.
So what these are validation machines. So basically what it is, it's a small unit that goes on the bus and it reads any type of RFID chip, your debit card, it can read QR codes, it can use visual validation through an app, it can use, through your app connect. So if you have the app, you can just put your phone to it. You can use any type of device that has a specific chip or code in it. They're like basically your standard door readers, those kind of devices. So
But
what
there was 3 of them. You said there was 3.
Oh,
Let's go back. We're talking 2 different.
the kiosks.
I want to
the
understand
kiosks,
that.
okay.
I want to understand 150,000.
Yeah, the 150,000. So what it is, these are like vending machines. So say at like our hub location, so say at like Meyer or some place that we designate as, this is a hotspot of transit activity. They can go to this vending machine, put in $20 and get a $20 pass out of it.
Okay.
And then they can scan that pass and they can ride Until that pass is done, they can recharge that pass.
Could there be one here? Could there be one here?
Yes, here, we're thinking here,
The Fraser and Meyer were the three.
yeah, the transfers as well as maybe one of the hub spots.
Yeah.
So would the one here, be rather than having a dispatcher do fare, or both would be? So
There would be
you
both,
could navigate it yourself? you could-
Correct.
Yes. And there would only be 3 in town?
That would be the plan to start out. And basically the one out here would probably be available. We're not sure yet where we place it, probably on the tarmac. Therefore be available 24/7, that kind of thing. We just got to look at security and maintenance and things like that on the station.
So we don't know for sure if it could be outside.
Well, it can be outside. It's just a matter of operationally, we would like to have it outside, or operationally, we like to have it inside. It's not whether it can be inside or outside. It can be outside if we want it to be. It's just a matter of, okay, now it's outside. What does that do to maintenance? What does that do about vandalism? What does that, do we have cameras on it? Like, what is our security for that?
I think all those are very important questions before moving forward, personally. Can we purchase a 75-cent ticket with it?
So in the new system, we'll have like, 70, won't sell individual tickets. It's all will be account based. So you'll just put money onto a card and you'll tap it and it just pulls money down as you utilize it. So it's not.
What's the minimum you could put on the card? Can you use your debit card and say you want to buy 75 cents?
Yes.
You could put whatever
You could put a
amount.
penny on it if you wanted to, like, oh, somehow I got it down to this number, I want to put a penny on this. You could come in to like Lori and say, hey, I want to add a penny to my account. She'd go, okay, penny's added. So it can be anything from there.
But there's no way to use cash. You'd have to have at least a debit card or something.
With that system in its current configuration, that does not accept cash, but there are ways to accept cash, and we're gonna get to that in just a second.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I was confused. I thought that was cash.
So the ticket vending machine can accept cash.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can load cash right into them and put them into the thing. The little reader that's on the bus does not accept cash.
What if somebody doesn't have a cell phone?
You don't have to have a cell phone, you can have a card, and keep the physical card on you and tap it anytime you ride. But a lot of our riders.
So how do you put money on the card?
With
You-
cash.
You go, yeah, with cash, you go to the kiosk, you could go to the Hall Street here, you could go to any of those locations and add cash onto the card if you want.
Correct, or any of the infocom locations as well.
But you would have to go to one of those locations to ride the bus if all you have is cash. And that's the issue I
Wait,
personally.
I think there's more.
There's a solution.
There's,
There's, yeah,
Coming.
it's coming.
We're excited to hear this.
Sure, yeah.
Why don't we move on to the cash part of it?
So we don't need to have the answer to this right now, but we're at the October meeting, we are gonna come back to you guys with a separate discussion about fare structure, okay? Not the fare system, but the fare structure. So what our fair pricing is, accepting cash versus cashless, all of those types of things. Because when you onboard a new fare system, and this, especially this system that has a lot of functionality and capability and flexibility built into it, this has the opportunity for us to make some adjustments at the same time. So cash versus cashless, let's talk about that for just a little bit, but we don't need to answer it here because this is going to be discussed at the October board meeting, okay? If we were going to replace all of our current fare boxes on our vehicles right now with a brand new version of GenFare that GenFare supports, we got an estimate from them, it would be $2.4 million to update all the fare boxes on our buses right now. So they would have readers on them, they would accept cash, they would be just the more advanced version of our collection system that we have right now. There are other ways to collect cash too. There are, just little basic cash boxes that we could put on the buses that range from anywhere from 25 to 30 bucks a piece that you can put cash in and you unlock them and collect them at the end of the day. There are even more heavy duty cash boxes that are available too. Those kind of range up between 1,500 to 2,500 a piece. They have a little functionality. They kind of keep track of the changes in the money that are coming into them. They can report how much is collected, type of thing. So there are ways to collect cash. The other thing too, besides the kiosks and going to like Hall Street for adding cash is Masadi or Easy Fare is connected to what's called the Vanilla Direct or Incom network. So that is a network of locations throughout our service area where riders could go into 7-Eleven, they could go into CVS, they could go into Walgreens, they could go into the Holiday gas station and put cash on their Beta accounts at the register of those locations. So there are 29 different locations currently within Beta's network that could also be collected, where people could add cash onto their card. Right now, there's only 2 in Leelanau County. So we would have to look at expanding our network in Leelanau County. There is a back-end sales portal, a retail sales portal that has no additional cost that we could work with like NJ's or the Tons up in Northport or the library and have them collect cash on Beta's behalf and add it to their account. Be something that we have to organize with them, but had the availability to do that. So, like I said, we're not going to solve the cash versus cashless thing here right now, but we did want to kind of just tease it and talk about it a little bit more and know that when we come back in October to talk more about fare structure, we'll have some more information for you. Justin's doing a lot of homework right now looking about slicing and dicing our fare data of like how many students, what is the percentage of student fare? What is the percentage of senior fare? What is the split? Getting an updated split on cash versus fare pass versus mobile ticketing so that we can look at that a little bit more as we take a deeper dive and what it looks like from a fare perspective and from a budgeting perspective of what our fare collection will look like moving forward. So what I'm asking for the board for consideration today is for us to start the procurement process with Easy Fare, with the thought of we would be bringing revisiting in October the fare structure, but bringing the formal agreement back to the board for approval, but just to start at least the procurement discussion with them and proceeding from that perspective. So that's where we're at right now. Additional questions, additional thoughts?
Yeah, any questions? Is there a motion?
Yes, I move that the board of directors allow staff to proceed with the procurement of a new fare system, Easy Fare, not to exceed a cost of $600,000 without additional board approval, and that staff will bring the final agreement to the board once finalized.
And do I have a second?
I'll support that.
Okay, been moved and second. Additional questions, comments?
I, as a, transfer rider, sometimes when I visit a city, I'll get on at a stop and I always have to just pay with cash because I'll be a first time visitor and I'm not at a hub. Usually sometimes drivers just like, don't worry about it because I use a big bill and that's great, but I can't rely on that. So I think as we move forward, it's good to kind of think about that scenario with someone who has a situation where they have to pay with cash.
Yeah, I agree.
And Eric, just so it's clear, we can move ahead with this. We want to make sure the cash is there. That can come too.
Again,
This is just starting the process to replace the stuff that the electronics that we have in place right now.
that's correct, sir.
Yeah, this is just discussion, so I wanted to just throw that out there because that's an important
Yeah.
situation to me.
With that also being said, I'd love to see potential alternate ticket vending machines that don't cost 50 grand a pop. Somebody's got to make something out there because that's.
I should just sell discussion. Because we're spending money, we're going to do a roll call vote. So, Tracy, will you?
Yep. All right. Thanks, Barr.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
Johnson Lavella.
Yes.
Glenn Elgire.
Yes. Yes.
Bill Underwood.
Yes.
Okay.
Eric, I'm sure you can read the room if this cash thing's important. Okay? Let's just make sure in October.
It's been,
That's a good option.
for sure the board, it's been an issue that we have been discussing.
Well, you read it the last meeting, right? I mean,
And
you're a pretty
then,
intuitive guy, you understand.
And that's why we're kind of doing this in a phased approach and hovering over this multiple meetings. So because it is an important topic and we want to make sure that we're giving it the time and effort that it receives.
Yeah, we just want to be equitable.
Yep.
And we're also looking at it operationally as well, because if we do those cash boxes on there, we're looking at the operations, saying, okay, what do we have to do to now get that cash, get those out of those cash boxes? What are the hours look like? What is the cash, getting that into the vaults? How are we doing that process? So we already started that process too, for all the different contingencies. We've been looking at that as well, so we'll have all that ready for the next meeting. Thank you.
New technology.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Paul.
So going on to new business, we have teachers association agreements.
Yes. So 12A, yeah, I'll start with that. So just a little background. So in 2021, we signed a 3-year successor agreement with our drivers and drivers and mechanics, and then also with our dispatchers. And then when that expired in 2024, we just settled a 1-year contract extension. So this year it expires then September 30th. Our contract will be expiring with both units. So we started contract negotiations. We met with the drivers and mechanics. Justin, I, Adabir, and our HR coordinator were the board's team. And Tony Fletcher is business agent for the Teamsters. And then he had 3 of our drivers, Tim Donahue, Kevin Hay, and Paul Bucko as their team. And we negotiated. We met a couple times with them. They brought up the initial proposal to us. I previously had come to the board to get some parameters to work within. And the negotiations went really well. They went really well. Currently, so we were able to settle a 3-year contract. They took it to their membership a week ago Sunday, and they voted to support, both the units supported the ratification of it pending board approval. And so so we have a formula currently that addresses revenue with them. And currently, and for several years, it's been a cap of 2.5%. And that's based on our revenue and our expenses, whether we pay the 2.5%. So what we agreed to is increase that to 3%. It's still based on revenue and it's still based on expenses. All we're saying is the highest it could go is the 3%. Another small part, but we reviewed the uniform allowance. We currently give a $100 uniform, and you can't buy much for $100 anymore. And we did agree to increase that to $200. Some of our people are not really even utilizing the whole 100, but some of them, by the time we have some language, we require certain color pants, certain shirts, and things like that. And then, so those were really the only 2 really financial situations that we agreed to change. The insurance, we have a cap on what we pay out to that as well. So right now we have about a 2% that we could pay additional premiums in. So it's really behooves us to work closely with our insurance carriers to ensure we want utilization, but what our increases are going to be, because we also don't want to dump it all on our employees. So we also agreed to some language then that really doesn't have a cost implication, just kind of defining, this might be too in the weeds for you, but we defined what a category 1 driver is, what a category 2 driver is. We agreed to meet with our bargaining unit members just to look at our shifts up to 3 times a year. So we're just going to sit down in a group and probably have our operations and myself and sit down, just look at what our shifts look like right now and how they could be improved. We think it's a real good improvement, actually. We also agreed to meet with, again, probably myself, Justin, and maybe our HR coordinator, but to talk with 1 bargaining unit member from each unit to review our insurance. So we're going to look at our insurance every year with them. And again, these are all just, we're going to look at. So there's no, we have to come to mutual agreement or anything like that. So, but it's good to get their input. We have good data each year on our utilization, not what Chris Davis, utilized, but how many are reaching their cap, how many are reaching their deductible, things like that. What riders are really not even being used, so we can remove those riders. And we did this past year for some cost containment. We also agreed to increase currently, we have bereavement leave that defines immediate family, so they have 3 days off for bereavement. We agreed to increase that in the case of the death of your spouse or child to 5 days. We thought that was very reasonable. Unfortunately, hopefully we won't need to use that, but we did agree to that. That was something they asked for. Then we just said we agreed to look at what our revenue and expenses is this year, because right now we do not have next year's revenue expenses. And if it is different than we think it could be, and there could be some kind of an off-schedule amount, like $200 or $500 or something like that, then we could look at that, sharing that with employees. So that's not anything guaranteed, it would be off schedule. The next steps would be, well, we've already put the changes into the contract to get a Word copy available. And then we also put a copy together that's like a lined out one so we can see, and then we'll get booklets printed for the people that need booklets. Those are the main changes for that contract. And really, this, we have two different motions.
Right.
Any questions on?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
What were your asks? Because you gave a lot. What did you ask for? Was there any work rule changes? Anything that helped us become more efficient,
Right.
operate better?
No, our ask was to be fiscally responsible. So our mostly were financial. They weren't operational. And most of the language, all the language in our current contracts are employer friendly.
Okay, so what was your ask that
So-
benefited Beta?
The ask that benefit Beta would be to stay within our budget and keep to a 3% increase and not go over budget.
From 2.5 to 3?
Yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah, so-
you did bump that.
we did bump it. Yeah.
Any other additional asks? Do I have a motion to accept the drivers and the mechanics?
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We got a roll call vote on this.
Lance Wilmer,
Yes.
Chris Spence,
Yes.
Johnson Villa,
Yes.
Lynn Albright,
Yes.
Garabay,
Yes.
Joe Underwood.
Yes. Motion carried.
And I should have said this also, but to support that, when we looked at our budget, initially we were looking at, could we give a 3% increase? And then we came to the conclusion, let's just increase our formula. So we initially had budgeted for a 3% above the 2.5. We did not agree to that. And so the cost to the organization for this coming year is only $19,487.94, just to put into perspective of what the additional cost would be for this contract. Then looking out, because it compounds a little bit, it'd be $50,174 for 2027. And then 2028 would be $82,320, just to give you an idea number wise. So, excuse me, and that does not include our 2% for the medical. That would be the additional part that, but I feel like we were able to get a very good contract and hold the line.
I just want, just to clarify, I wouldn't be critical,
Yeah.
but based on my experience in negotiating Teamster contracts, you always have, in my experience, maybe not the way you do it, but you always have your asks. And then your asks have to equate to a dollar amount so that you can cover the additional expenses. And so that's why I asked about work rules, flexibility, different things that, so maybe that's something in the future when we do that is look at what do we want? Because it sounded to me like it was a lot of, we gave them this, and this.
Then-
And I was waiting to hear, what did we
Sure.
get? And so that's what my question.
And I don't take it as critical. What I would say,
That's being critical.
I didn't
Again,
take it as-
what we learned with you.
so in 2017 and again in 2021, we greatly improved the management rights in our contracts. So we improved a lot of efficiencies, and we met with our operations team again this year. Is there anything in the contract? Because when we go to staff, we have staffing rights.
Yeah.
We don't, like now we're looking at, if we need to make a change here, we don't have to do it by seniority. We do it by skill, evaluation, things like that. So really, when we met, there weren't things that weren't working for us or that we got them last time. And we got them in two. I can just, respond to the last two contracts that I negotiated. And we got some good management rights in there that are, didn't really, yeah, yep, I totally agree with you, John. Yeah.
So then, do we have a motion for the dispatch unit?
Yes, so moved.
It's been moved, second,
Second.
seconded. It's been moved and seconded. Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Lance Bowman,
Yes.
Fern Spence,
Yes.
John Sonavilla,
Yes.
Glenn Albert,
Yes.
Sarah Bye. Yes. Joe Underwood.
Yes. Motion carries.
And the only thing I'd add on that group, we had two of our dispatchers that were part of that bargaining unit, also Josh Stone and Mr. Barney, and myself and Justin and Adam and Brittany were in that, and it was really collaborative. I mean, it might seem like we gave a lot, they were asking for a lot more than that, and we just talked through like why that would not work. One of their big asks is compensatory time, and the Teamsters in the state are really pushing for compensatory time. Our drivers are not pushing compensatory time, and how it works differently for a transportation company is, for example, if someone wanted, say they work 45 hours, what they were proposing is 5 of those hours could be taken at a later date in the year. And then what we would need to do is when they take later in the year, we're going to have to replace that with 7.5 hours of time, which could be a driver also getting overtime. So for us, it really does not work. And really, there was a couple arbitration cases that supported it not being done in the same pay period. I would not recommend a contract that uses arbitrators' decisions. The law now says that our drivers are non-exempt, and so you have to pay it and recognize it in the pay period. So that'd be another reason, but it was a big item for the Teamsters. You know, so they had a few different provisions like that that I think the Teamsters are trying to get, as opposed to we don't hear from our drivers at all. They prefer to have, and really, we don't want to have to then also pay. In the next year, they might need 7.5 hours more off. That is hard to manage and not efficient. If they have to work overtime, we'll pay them the time and a half and not have time and a half given in time later. That most of our employees are already at 40. So if someone's going to pick it up, they're going to pick it up at time and a half. Now 7, do you see the domino?
Yeah.
But this won't go away. I think they will be, trying to push for this in the next negotiations. And in the end, we just said, it's a jugular for us. I spoke on your behalf, but I spoke on your behalf that it's a kind of a jugular issue that we would not recommend. And there were about 3 of those but in the end, we got through it, and I think our employees are happy with it. I can't tell you like 60%, they had a quorum, they had what they need, but I can't tell you like 60% voted or 80%. They don't like to get it. And when I said TCAPs, they'd always tell me, yep, we had overwhelming yes, sir. But here, the Teamsters do not like to share that information, but they voted it, so that's a good thing.
All right. Well, it's time for second public comment. I don't see any second public comment. Are there any additional questions, announcements, or before? I do have one question. Can you remind me how often we do situational awareness training on personal safety? And the climate that we're in today, can we do that with our drivers, and how often?
Yes, we haven't done it often. I have reached out actually, though, we were going to do it in the spring, and then or the summer, we had to move it. So, but it's active assailant training is the one that we're going to be doing. So it's not exactly situational, but I believe it'll be very close to that. And we're going to have them do it for on the bus, in our facility, and at Hall Street. We totally agree that is something we need to really.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I have one thing. So I met last week with Hannah, who runs Jubilee House, the executive director of Jubilee House. And if you're not aware of Jubilee House, it is essentially a day shelter in Boardman neighborhood that is a place for the unhoused community to go during the day. As you know, the other shelter is only a night shelter. And we spoke on the topic of transit and how many of the services within the homelessness community here are very disjointed. One being, our new crisis center, for example, doesn't have a bus stop at it. And so that she was just bringing that up. Also, their funding right now allows them to, I believe, purchase, she said, 1 bus pass per person per week. And the services within Grand Traverse County are very just everywhere, right? You have to go here to get a service. You have to hop on the bus and go all the way over here to get a service. You have to get a service downtown. So her ask was, is there a way that we can maybe supplement some more bus passes that could help people get out of homelessness faster because they can then go to an interview for a job. And my ask would be from me would be, can we look into bringing some of these players who are involved in the community into a board meeting just to present on what they're doing, and so we can hear them out and hear what their asks are, and just see, is there a way, this is an ongoing issue in Grand Traverse County, and I think BATA plays a big part in helping people get from place to place, and that involves our unhoused community.
And I think when you presented to me, I had mentioned that I thought it'd be good to start with admin, that we'd have reach out. We already do with some of the players like GTI and some of the agencies, but we would definitely reach out to, you'd give them their contact information, that we'd start with that and have our admin team meet, our team, 3 people, meet with them and get some information too, to see where, so that we can know what the issues are to address.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
I just want to bring it to the public light.
A presentation to the local Rotary and see if they would do a grant.
Yeah, it's
The Grand Traverse Rotary has a lot of money.
I did the quick napkin math on if monthly passes were provided to every single person experiencing homelessness. I think it's like 123 people or something within the county. It was down to like $136,000 at the end of the day, and I can't speak to the exact numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but Hannah had some statistics of like how fast people would accelerate out of homelessness if they were provided with maybe the extra service of not having to budget their bus pass, their once a week bus pass.
I'm on Rotary, and I would be glad if it'd be helpful, unless you wanted to, but I'd be glad to find out how to get on the agenda. We meet every week, and we have agenda come in, someone come in and speak on a number of different areas, but.
Yeah, if you can facilitate that, I would love that.
Was your 136 number an unlimited amount of rides?
That was like the monthly bus pass. Yeah.
Okay, so that's an unlimited amount.
Yep. Yep.
And I want to commend you for thinking of the monthly pass as opposed to right now what they give out is just a ride.
A day pass,
right?
yeah,
And so that would be just massive if they had that month. So I also used to work for Goodwill as a housing-based case manager. So I was keeping people housed who had previously been homeless. And yeah, they have 1 month where you know that you can achieve all those goals, from going to Goodwill to buy some clothes, to do the, go for an interview, to show up for the second interview, to do all that is just huge. But 1 pass does not get you
4 passes
anywhere.
Doesn't get you.
It just doesn't get you anywhere. And if you have to go to the doctor, you often have to go somewhere else to get your meds.
Mhm.
And so there's just snowball of places you need to go.
They do have an electronic, like a digital tracking system for services provided. I can't remember what it's called. There's an acronym for it, but essentially when somebody comes to any of these places, Goodwill, Jubilee House, Good Harbor, or Safe Harbor, they're entered into this system, which then allows them to track like how far they've gone through are you interviewing for a job? Have you applied for housing? Do you have a driver's license? Do you have ID? Have you gotten a bus pass? And so they can actually track this as well. So it's not just here's a stack of bus passes. It's this is trackable data.
Yeah. Would you like them to reach out to you or Hannah, or what would be the?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, I think both. I'm happy to just be an advocate. I don't speak for the whole board, but I just wanted to bring this up that I did have that opportunity to meet with her, and that was her asking us.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to join you too, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
And similarly, we sell a lot of passes to Commission on Aging. And I wish that they only purchased the month pass.
Mhm.
Because you can get so much more bang for your buck with those month passes. So anyone that we sell those, just continue to try to.
Yeah,
Find somewhere
we've
to go.
encouraged them to do that, but the reason they keep buying the other passes is because the monthly pass does not work on link. So they want to make sure that the pass that they use works both on the fixed route and the door to door. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like an easy way for them to make sure that all data services are utilized. But we keep saying, for those who only use the loop, the commuter pass is the way to go.
Right.
So we will continue to push that.
Will that be solved with your new system?
So the new system, the path that you have can be used on any of Beta's routes. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be one pass for all services.
And the other aspect there was, I think I saw you write it down, Eric, was the crisis center that we just opened.
Yeah.
Making sure that we have service to that. Because if you're experiencing crisis and you're homeless, or you're not homeless, but you're, mobility challenged, how do you get there, right?
Yeah, and that's one of our challenges is where, and you know this from being involved in transit, is services open up all over the place.
Yeah.
Not near where we have service at. So it's always kind of being flexible and adjusting, like, oh, there's a new housing development over here off of Hertner Road.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't run a bus over there.
Yeah.
How do we adapt to meet the needs of the community?
I know we have to do a whole study and everything when it comes to that.
We can
on your stuff, so
figure it out. Yeah.
it's a project.
Thank you.
Any additional comments?
No, just clarification. So that's going to go through management, not to the board, correct? Yeah. Reflected in the minutes? That, any proposal? Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, is there a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
We're adjourned.